No gold is not enough.
Alright, hi everyone, my name is Robert with blindfoldedsite.com. Today we're going to be talking about chakras and the roadmap to enlightenment. This information I've compiled and it's in my book as well. I'm reading a chapter from my book. If you really are interested, go ahead and purchase it. The link is down below. Help me help you. Let's change the world. I noticed a lot of things on chakras on the internet, kind of have a little here, a little there. I'm going to try to give you a full, in-depth perspective of chakras. So 15,000 years ago, Adiyogi, which is the first yogi, which was Shiva, attained enlightenment and brought us all the Vedic science of yoga. This science lays out a roadmap that leads to the highest attainments. Yoga is far more than just stretching. I mean, one could argue that yoga is not even about movement at all, but rather about emotion and self-mastery. In the previous sections, we learned that our subtle body is where our physical body comes from, like the question of the chicken and the egg, which came first, consciousness or the brain. And consciousness came first, and it is responsible for the brain. We also learned previously that matter and spirit are not separate, but they're one and the same. Matter is the expression of spirit, constantly unfolding in reality. Furthermore, we came across proof that immortality is real and that the path of enlightenment is paved with love. Now, this is clearly visible in the layout of the chakra system as well. You could describe this map to ascension as Jacob's ladder, a solid connection or bridge between the material and the spiritual. I hope the picture's starting to become a little clearer. Everything is energy, directed by intention. Every choice moves us closer or further away from the source of it all. And chakras are the keys to enlightenment in yoga. Now, chakras are referred to as wheels, gates, whirlpools, or energy centers. They've acquired these names and understandings through the perceptions of energy fields with refined sensing and observation capabilities. When you've improved your own energetic senses and nervous system, you will sense these centers yourself. There are 114 chakras in and above the body, but most of the time we primarily focus on the predominant 7. These chakras, or gates, allow energy to flow into or out of our body. This flow happens in the form of a whirlpool, spinning clockwise and condensing energy into the body, and flowing counterclockwise when energy is leaving the body. Each of these centers interacts with the subtle world around us and affects us far more than most of us realize. In the East, when there is a physical problem, traditionally they look for an energetic root cause. In the West, we're unaware of the impacts of subtle energies on our physical form and therefore disregard them entirely. Science, to our current understanding, backs the chakra system. Each center or system is directly linked to a different set of organs that are responsible for specific actions in the body. The understanding of the energetics of the body from emotion is called biopsychology. The chakras lay out a map of evolution, starting at our root chakra, the Mulatara chakra, and moving from primal life in the physical world to our Crown Chakra, or Sahasara Chakra, which represents God, and encompasses all existence, both spiritual and materialistic. The chakra system is developed for self-mastery and attaining enlightenment, and becoming a demigod, essentially. The science of yoga shows us that everything is connected, everything is one, and the goal is to move from a duality-based existence to a non-dual-based existence. The goal of yoga is to raise your consciousness and understanding to that of God's level. The Vedic science of yoga allows us to see that nearly every choice we make is deciding between eternal life as perfection or slow destruction, clinging to selfish and materialistic means. The biggest choices we make happen every day and determine our spiritual progress. Do you serve others, or do you serve yourself? This universe only works by working together, and if you serve only yourself, you cannot possibly hope to ascend. Each chakra represents a flower with a specific number of petals surrounding it. Each petal has a different meaning or trait. The 3 chakras below the heart have petals that we would generally want to avoid. The petals surrounding the chakras above the heart are things we would want to embody. These are called the vritti, or propensities of each chakra. The chakras below the heart represent our materialism, while the chakras above the heart represent our divinity. Each chakra has a certain number of qualifications to truly open the gate and ascend to the next chakra, climbing Jacob's ladder to meet God. This can also be related to the rising of the Kundalini, but we'll talk much more about that later. To get a base understanding of the chakras, a good practice is to recognize where you feel certain emotions. This will help you understand the chakras. When we worry, this is felt in our gut, very solid pit in our stomach. When we love, this is felt in our heart. You can feel the buzzing. If you want a more visual image, I suggest looking at the blood flow chart of the body in relation to different emotions. Our blood carries energy, and it is moved depending on how we feel. Our emotions affect genetic expression as well as our physical health. Now let's take a look at the map, starting at the bottom, from the most material expression that we have, and moving to the top, to the most divine expression. We have the root chakra, the Mulatara, which is represented by the color red. It's got the element of earth, and its symbolic animal is the elephant. This center gives us a direct link going back to the first living organisms on earth. It is said that the genetic potential for immortality resides in this center. The 4 petals, or vritti, are as follows. Number 1 is kama. This is the desire for material pleasure, such as sex and food. It comes from our animalistic instincts. Number 2 is artha. This is the desire for intellectual pleasure, or the want for non-material things and knowledge. The 3rd is dharma. This is the desire for spiritual pleasure and the want to know God. And number 4 is moksha, which is the desire for spiritual liberation or enlightenment. The spirit wants to be free from the limitations of the mind. Now these first 4 petals kind of give us all of our steps from the very bottom going all the way to the top. This is the beginning of the path, where we may also find fear from lack of material things. We will then move from fear to anger and adopt a need for power and control. Once power is maintained, then one generally looks inward for self-realization. These are the first steps on our path, where we slowly start to make choices that move from being selfish to selfless. In the root chakra, we find our instinctual desires and formation of primal life. This chakra is located in the coccyx, at the base of the spine, which is close to the perineum. In order to strengthen this chakra and raise dormant energy, we must bring this chakra into balance. We must not be controlled by our base desires. We must attain self-mastery and tell our bodies what to do, rather than having our bodies tell us what to do. When we do these things, we learn to conserve energy, we learn to strengthen our aura, and we don't create holes that lose unnecessary amounts of energy through various actions related to the vrittis. This center represents earth as its element. When this center is strong, it helps in the formation of solid matter in your body. It is said to increase the strength of your bones and even create a pleasant scent in a person who has a balanced root chakra. A balanced root chakra is also associated with bowel health. The second chakra we have is the Sacral Chakra, or the Svadhisthana Chakra, which is orange, which is also I feel. It's got the element of water, and its symbolic animal is the crocodile. This center is related to our lizard brain. It has to do with the base structure of our brain, which is the same as a reptile. This chakra, or energy center, is known to be responsible for the liquid element in the body, and is associated with the lymphatic system. The 6 petals, or vrittis, are as follows. Now some of these are a little difficult for me to pronounce, so I'm just going to go with the meaning of them, and if you want the actual names, check out my website. I've got the blog post there. You can also find it in my book. The first one is disdain for others, something we want to avoid. Number 2 is stupor, or frozen depression. Number 3 is gluttony, or overconsumption. Number 4 is distrust in others. Number 5 is fear of death. And number 6 is indifference or mercilessness. Now, these propensities are emotional states that we must overcome. They determine if we balance this chakra through love and channel energy further upward, or if we are to feed our reptilian tendencies and move downward into the physical realm of deterioration. This chakra is connected with our addictions. Often, when we do not find the satisfaction we seek in this material life, we are left feeling empty, knowing that there is something more, and we fill that emptiness with anything we can. Moderation is key to the development of this center. It is very important to save your vital life fluids and not to waste semen. When this center is balanced, it is said that a person will almost have a glow to them, an increase in attractiveness. Remember, our energetic expression becomes our physical expression. The third chakra, or solar plexus chakra, the Manipura chakra. Its color is yellow. It's represented by I do. The element is fire. The symbolic animal is the ram. This center is responsible for generating heat in the body and proper digestion. The solar plexus chakra is also connected with our mammalian tendencies. We see that as we move up the spine, we are going from primal to spiritual. Still, we find the base instincts here that we must overcome. There are some vrittis in this center that we must conquer, and these are 1. Shame or bashfulness. 2. Greed. 3. Jealousy or envy. 4. Sleepiness or laziness. 5. Melancholy or sadness. 6. Cruelty or sadistic tendencies. 7. Thirst or infatuation. 8. Attachment to the physical. 9. Hatred. And 10. Fear. One of the most important tendencies that we must overcome in this chakra is our attachment to material things. This includes attachment to people. Most of our pain and fear comes from attachment. We have to lose our lust for material things. Only in this way do we achieve freedom. Attachment and love are not the same thing. Attachment comes from time and proximity. The longer something is around you, the more we tend to become attached. So how do we overcome attachment and still maintain love? Well, we must love the essence of all things and not the form. We can easily become attached to form, but this is not true love. This is more closely related to addiction. Cold showers are great for this chakra. They help the body maintain its ability to self-heat and self-regulate. Also, a vegetarian diet is recommended as digestion is easier and it takes less energy. Without meat and fat content, the blood vessels don't get restricted, which can cause health problems, especially if stress is also introduced. If you're going to go all out, avoid garlic, alcohol, tobacco, and onions as well, so you don't waste excess energy from digestion. Number 4, we have our heart chakra, the Anahata. This is green, represented by I love. It has the element of air, and the symbolic animal is the antelope. The heart chakra is the central gateway between the spiritual and the material worlds. The 3 chakras below represent our inhumanity. The heart chakra represents our humanity, and the 3 chakras above represent our divinity. Only a person who acts through their heart can ascend to being divine. Here we have 12 petals or tendencies of this center, some to embody and some to avoid. Number 1 is hope. Number 2 is morality. Number 3 is effort. Number 4 is love. Number 5 is arrogance or vanity. Number 6, discrimination between right and wrong. Number 7, depression or languor. Number 8, ego and pride. Number 9, extreme acquisition or avarice. Number 10, hypocrisy. Number 11, argumentativeness. And number 12, regret. The heart chakra is associated with the thymus. This organ in the neck is responsible for creating T cells and maintaining our immune system. Unconditional love is the answer to any problem. We create joy in service to others, and we find depression when we only serve ourselves. One way we can strengthen this center is to dance and do good deeds whenever you see the opportunity. Breathing through the heart with love is a great way to balance this center. Meditation in groups is also very powerful at charging this center and bringing it into balance. Moving up, we have the Throat Chakra, or the Vishuddha Chakra, which is represented by white or blue. And the words for this are I talk. The element is ether, or the akasha, and the symbolic animal is a white elephant. The Throat Chakra is where we first begin to see divinity. This center is represented by the ether, or space and time, because sound is the most subtle physical force that we have. It is not a thing at all, but rather a pressure wave. These petals are slightly different than their other centers, as this chakra encompasses mantras and seed sounds. You have the Om mantra, 1. Number 2 is Samaveda mantras. Number 3 is Bij mantra. Number 4 is a different type of Bij mantra. There are also several mantras for 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 9 is Amrita, which is the nectar of immortality, which may likely be melatonin, but potentially something else. And then moving down to the other chakras in this center are the musical notes or vowels of Sanskrit. I'm not going to try to pronounce these. Go ahead and check out my link, check out my book and website. You can see it there. It is said that the fields of Chi resonate with a sound, and this sound is Om, the sound that encompasses all existence. In India, it is AUM, while in China, it is OM. The first sound of this mantra is the A, which stands for the first word spoken and the start of existence. The second sound is O, and this stands for all time and creation. And finally, the sound M stands for the dissolution or the end of existence. The mantra, Om Mani Padme Om, means I know that the sacred divine energy of all resides dormant in my root chakra. The use of mantras is indeed a method for attaining higher states of consciousness. What happens is that not only are you sending energy out that you wish to match up with, but you are repeating a phrase to the point that your analytical left side of the brain gets bored and stops paying attention. At this point, your right hemisphere can take over and begin to lead the way to an elevated state. Not only can sound bring you closer to the divine, but it is vital in our expression and the determination on whether we will continue to climb up to unity with God or if our actions keep us in the mundane. Singing can help balance this chakra, as well as speaking the truth and compassion. Breathing with focused intent through this chakra will also help strengthen it. The development of this center is also known to be associated with the manifestation of several siddhis, or superhuman abilities. Next, we have the third eye chakra, or the Ajna chakra, which is represented by purple or indigo, and the phrase is I see. The element is the supreme element, which is all other elements combined. The symbolic animal is the black antelope. Now, the third eye is the center that generally gets the most attention. This center, being above those below it, is in control of and can regulate all of the descending chakras. The third eye chakra is connected with the hypothalamus. This organ, located in our brains, literally controls, spiritually and physically, all the other chakras below. The hypothalamus produces hormones that regulate emotional responses. It also plays a key role in maintaining the body's temperature and daily unconscious processes, while simultaneously controlling other areas such as sexual desire and appetite. So in a sense, if you can bring this energy center into balance, you will bring all of the descending chakras into balance below it. The two petals of this chakra are focused on knowledge. Number 1, the knowledge of the physical, and number 2, the knowledge of the spiritual. The third eye centers for knowledge of all things. It represents not only the ability to learn everything from the physical world, but it also gives us the ability to discover all information from the spiritual world. When one looks outward, they see the material existence, and when they look inwardly, they find divinity. A person must develop this center to progress further up the path to enlightenment. At this point, a person who is dedicated has mostly changed their views from a dualistic perspective to a non-dualistic perspective, and lives as if they are the world. They live a life with unconditional love for everything. If someone else is suffering, then you are suffering. You must raise your consciousness to the level of God's consciousness. And from here you can begin to do His work and raise humanity to the rightful divine intention. With the development of this center, you will develop your intuition and direct knowing. Things like remote viewing, blindfolded sight are also refined at this level, and we can rehabilitate the blind so that they can see clearly into the Akashic records, the world in front of them, and you can also see things as if you're watching it on a TV, very clearly with full color. From this point, you can now clearly understand God's intention and connect with the source of all infinite consciousness. Meditating deeply on I Am helps this center greatly. And finally, we have the Crown Chakra, or the Sahasara Chakra, which is represented by the phrase I Am. The element is pure consciousness. The symbolic animal is the egg, and there are 1,000 petals on this chakra. We have 50 times 2 times 10 equals 1,000. The 50 petals on all the chakras below, times 2 for the positive and negative expressions of them, times 10, which is reference to the energy ley lines that extend from our crown chakra, one going up, one going down, and then the other 8 going around like a compass, north, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, and northwest. These energy lines also come into play with the alignment of the pyramids, as well as other practices like feng shui. These energetic systems are apparent and understood as the science that they are when the person has developed themselves energetically and can perceive the chakras directly. The crown chakra represents the King of Kings, God Almighty. This center is your true connection to the divine and resides above your head. This center is associated with the pineal gland, the center of the brain, which is able to produce DMT and melatonin. There is a yogic substance that is said to be secreted by the pineal gland that is partially spiritual in nature. And if someone is not in the right state of meditation, then the compound is assumed to be immediately destroyed. This still undiscovered secretion is called Amrita, which is the elixir of immortality, referenced in yogic culture. Many people believe that the elixir of life is actually referring to melatonin. One of the pineal gland's main functions is to determine if it's night or day, and then to secrete the appropriate hormones. When it is day, serotonin is produced, and we are put in a very awake state. When it is night and less light enters the eyes, then our pineal gland begins to produce melatonin. Melatonin is known for having sedative effects on the person. It will reduce stress levels and help a person attain higher states of meditation. Melatonin is produced around 9 p.m. and increases in levels until it reaches a maximum point around 12 p.m. Many yogis recognize that higher states of melatonin lead to deeper and more profound states of meditation. This is why between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. is recognized as the time of Shiva, a time which has mystical properties. Interestingly enough, hunger can also increase the levels of melatonin. This is another reason why fasting is utilized. It is also said that fasting with water is good for the body, and fasting without water is good for the body and the spirit. An interesting study found that rats which were injected with melatonin had lower levels of stress and lived 20% longer lives than rats who were not injected. Melatonin is a powerful antioxidant and has very beneficial anti-aging effects. Rumi has mentioned that meditation on this center with unconditional love for the Supreme Being and the oneness of all leaves the person in a state of divine drunkenness. Many of the yogic sciences have been kept highly secret for generations. Yoga in Tibet is only passed down from master to student orally. They never write anything down. Many enlightened masters have come from India, so we should pay attention to what these methods have to teach. I have not mentioned any asanas in this book, or article, or video, because in the West they have become the main focus, while the actual science of spirit has been largely overlooked. Each different yoga posture will help in moving the blood, twisting, bending, and stretching out that given area or chakra. Now, because all of yoga is about balancing the mind and the body, a vegetarian diet is recommended so that you do not create any blockages in the blood circulation or any vasoconstriction. Remember, your body is your spirit. And if you want to attain, you need to not only bring our bodies, but our minds into balance and harmony, so that they may work how they were intended. Thank you so much for listening in. I have a lot of great courses where I teach people how to see without their eyes on my website. I've got free videos on YouTube, where if you have kids, they're free lessons. Anyone can go ahead and just watch them and start teaching their children, which kids learn extremely fast. For us adults, it takes much longer. I think part of this has to do with, number one, our preconceived beliefs, and number two, I think fluoride is a legitimate thing that we should start avoiding in the future because it may be more detrimental than we realize. Because for children, they learn in like 3 hours, but for adults, it takes like 3 months. So there's got to be something there. Please join me on this journey. We can truly change the world. I hope you understand chakras much better now that we've gone over them. Check out my website. I've got my book. I've got online courses and lessons. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Like, subscribe, and I wish you the best. Thank you.
And our goal is not